Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Homework 4 game. And it's not much of a game. It's not meant to be a lot of fun. It's meant to give you practice building the important pieces of what you'll use to make games in future homeworks, maybe even in an upcoming collab. To get started, download homework4.py and the CMU112 graphics and the linter, and then you can get going, okay? We're going to walk through this here so that you can see with your own eyes what these things are talking about. It'll make the instructions easier to follow. To begin with, let's go ahead and run. This is the actual game running along, okay? And it's the game that's described here. Okay, we start with an empty grid, and actually I'm going to hit R here to reset this so you can see this is what the grid should look like initially. It's a 10 by 10 grid, as it says, okay? And there's a little more to this. The actual grid fills a 500 by 500 space with a margin of 5 on each side. That's 510 pixels across. Margin of 5 on the bottom and 35 on the top. So that's 540 vertically. And the extra room on the top is so that we have space to place a title and a score. Cool. Now, if the user presses the digit N, we resize and start over. So if I go here and I press 4, it's a 4 by 4, and 7 is a 7 by 7. The only thing is if it's a small digit, say less than 4, you add 10. So if I do 2, it's actually 12 by 12. 3 is 13 by 13, and 0 is 10 by 10. Cool. Okay. There's a blue dot, starts in the left top square. There it is. And it's going to sweep to the right. That's what it says here. But when it gets to the end, it's going to go down and sweep to the left. And when it gets end, it's going to go down and sweep to the right, and so on. So if I unpause, there it goes. Down, sweep the other way. Down, sweep the other way. And it's just going to proceed this way all the way down through the entire grid. And when it gets to the bottom, unsurprisingly, it's going to come back out the top. Okay, cool. So that's that. For debugging purposes, we want to make it so when you hit P, it pauses. Pause, or then if it's already paused, it unpauses. Pause, unpaused. And also, when you're paused, if you hit S, it'll take one step. Now, what we've changed is if you hit S when you're not paused, it does nothing. Okay, but this is still very similar to what's in the course notes, so you can look at that. Also, at any time, if I press R, the game resets. R resets. Okay, so reset just puts the score back to 0, puts the blue dot in the top left corner, and so on. That's resetting. When the mouse is clicked, we'll get an explosion. So let's actually unpause, and I'll click the mouse. There's an explosion. There's an explosion. Okay, cool. And now we get to talk about points. Okay, by the way, the explosion is told in detail here. Start with a radius of 10, grow by 10 until a radius of 50. That's what that looks like. Now, if the explosion hits the blue dot, see what just happened? And I got 5 points. And the reason I got 5 points, well, I'll explain in a minute. But first off, now I have a red dot. And if the explosion hits the red dot, I get 10 points. If the explosion misses, I lose a point. And that goes on. Let's reset. And now let's run. If I have I miss now, I don't get negative points. Okay? So the number of points I get for the red dot is always 10 if I hit it. For the blue dot, it depends on how large the explosion is when it intersects. So if I put an explosion here, and then I step once, they collided and I only got 2. But if I then, let's do a reset, and I put an explosion here, and I step, now the explosion is going to be actually bigger when they collided, so I got 3 points. And that's all explained right here in step 7. Okay? And on step 8, if I hit the red dot, once again you get 10 points. And if it never hits a dot, I lose a point, and except I can't have negatives. That's it. I'm just going to point out that the write-up includes some important hints about some helper functions that we wrote that we thought were really helpful. You don't have to write these. They are in the starter file, and we strongly encourage you to write them. But all you have to do is make it match this while using good style. And we'll also remind you that we will be grading for style. We may add some bonus ideas soon, and we may even post a video about those. But this is all you need to write the main part, which is worth 100 points of homework for. Hope this helps. Have fun out there. Don't forget to use office hours and Piazza. Good luck with this.